It's day 8 of the Schumer shutdown, and there is still no end in sight. For the 6th time, Senate Democrats today blocked a clean stopgap spending package from funding the government through November the 21st, allowing Congress to work on the appropriations process. And for the 5th time, Republicans did not see any more from the other side of the aisle join them in moving the chamber closer to the 60 votes needed. Senate Republicans need 8 to vote with them, and only 3 have been doing so since the second vote. But what does it look like behind the scenes? Are there any developments that might lead to an understanding that might open the government back up? Joining me now to discuss this, Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. He serves on several Senate committees, including the Budget Committee and the Finance Committee. Senator Johnson, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to see you.
Well, Tony, hope you're doing well. And let me apologize for having to leave lunch before I heard you speak. I heard you did a great job. Remind the Republican conference that Obamacare pays for abortions. And if we extend these temporary COVID enhanced subsidies, basically we're throwing money at a failed healthcare system, but also throwing money at a system that funds abortions. That's an incredibly important point to make. And I'm so glad that you came to the Republican conference in the Senate and made that point to my colleagues. Well,
thank you, Senator. And it's important to point out that Republicans have never voted for those, so why would they vote for them now?
Well, just under pressure. We've got some members that get a little weak in the knee when Democrats tell lies. But we need to keep reminding the public that, first of all, the reason health care costs are higher, particularly in the individual market, is because Obamacare. Even the Washington Post admitted that the problem with the Affordable Care Act is it was never affordable. Remember, that was the 2013 lie of the year. If you like your health care plan, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. No, you lost your health care plan, you lost your doctor, and insurance rates on the individual market in particular skyrocketed. So it's a failed system. Why would anybody want to throw more money at it? And why would Republicans agree to do what Democrats didn't do when they were in the same position? They're the ones that had these temporary pandemic enhanced premiums expire.
Right.
Why would we say, okay, now because you're going to engage in these kind of falsehoods and lies and try and win the election based off this issue, now we're supposed to throw money at this at your failed healthcare policy? I don't think so.
Senator, you come from a business background, so you bring a little too much common sense to the process here in Washington. Something doesn't work, you get rid of it or you fix it. That's the right thing to do. But here you just throw more money at it. I mean, that's what we've seen year after year. And so you even have some of your colleagues, as you said, are getting a little concerned. We might have to do something. Let's address the underlying problem. It doesn't work.
And I appreciate President Trump had a tweet say, we're happy to help you fix your failed Obamacare healthcare system. Okay, I would love to repair the damage done by Obamacare and transition to a system that works. But unfortunately, Obamacare got rid of things like high-risk pools, which weren't perfect, but could have been tweaked to cover people with pre-existing conditions. The real problem with Obamacare, well, one of them, is that it's forcing, because it got rid of high-risk pools, it's forcing the small percentage of Americans on individual policies to bear the full cost of covering everybody with pre-existing conditions. So again, it's just a completely faulty model, but is successful from a standpoint of what Democrats wanted. They wanted to move to a single-payer system.
Right.
They got more people now on these Obamacare policies. They're taking care of them through Medicaid, forcing out disabled children, resulting in these provider fees. I mean, that scam, that fraud, that is really having the federal government hemorrhage hundreds of billions of dollars a year. And quite honestly, now states and hospital systems are basing their budget model on this $9 to $1 match.
So, Senator, you've laid out the case. You've got Democrats that want essentially $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years to continue these temporary premium subsidies that came about because of COVID. They want to continue those. Republicans have never voted for this before, number one, because of the underlying issue. Obamacare is a failed government system. It funds abortion. It is outside of Hyde. So what's the off-ramp? How does the government get opened back up?
Well, the House gave them the off-ramp. They passed a clean CR. at Biden's funding levels. They voted for Biden's funding levels. They voted for CRs in the past. So what's the problem now? The other better solution is pass the Eliminate Shutdown Act. We offered that. Every Democrat voted against it. Unfortunately, we had Republican appropriators vote against it as well. They said it undercut the appropriation process. Tony, let me just describe the process they're saying I'm undercutting with the Eliminate Shutdown Act. I've been here 15 years. We should have passed 180 appropriation bills before the start of a fiscal year. You know how many we passed on time? 6. That's a 96.7% failure rate. And as dysfunctional as this looks, and it is dysfunctional, but it's also a very well-honed process on the part of the big spenders on both sides of the aisle, the Uniparty, takes up against these deadlines, Thanksgiving, Christmas, or whatever, create all this anxiety. And listen, there'll be people being harmed by shutdowns, just to force people to vote on a multi-thousand-page omnibus spending bill. Nobody reads, that spends money we can't afford. That's the game that's being played right now. It's ridiculous. We could end it, and the best way to end it is not another temporary CR. Just vote for the Eliminate Shutdowns Act. It just sets up automatic 14-day rolling continuing appropriations until that department or all of government gets funded. Again, you don't shut anything down, just spend it at last year's level. What could be more common sense? But again, the only reason they're not doing it is because they want to preserve the appropriation process. Like I said, that's got a 96.7% failure rate in the 15 years I've been here.
Right.
Go figure.
Senator, 30 seconds left. Do you foresee a positive outcome like you've just described, that people come to their senses and say, we got to do things differently?
With enough pressure, hopefully. And by the way, one thing I forgot to mention about the zero premium policies, that has allowed tens of billions of dollars to flow directly to the insurance companies for policies people don't even know they have, because unscrupulous agents are signing people up. They collect commission. The insurance companies get the premiums, tens of billions of dollars on policies that aren't even used. Anybody voting to extend those enhanced premiums are voting to extend that, that fraud.
Outrageous. Senator Johnson, always great to see you.